Hello, and this is Chapter 2, The Writing Process at Work. What writing is and is not. What writing is a fluid process that is dynamic, not static, changeable as your thoughts, information, and view of the material changes, time consuming, as we all know, subject to judgment calls, in need of many revisions to grow into a final version. What writing is not, a mysterious process known only to a few, a magical formula to follow, completed in the first attempt. I think that is one of the most important parts that we're going to learn in this chapter, especially, is to respect the writing process. You probably heard a little bit about it in English 111, but we're going to go over it a little bit in Chapter 2 as well. Stages of the writing process. The five stages of the writing process are researching, planning, drafting, revising, and editing. If you notice, 3, 4, and 5 are essentially just redoing the same things over and over again. A good rule of thumb, you never want to turn in your first draft. You never want to turn in your first draft. Another good rule of thumb. It is also helpful to have at least a second set of eyes looking at whatever you plan on turning in. Remember that writing is a part of who you are. For a lot of us, it is our first impressions. So we want to give off a good first impression, not a sloppy, lazy, half done first impression. Researching. Researching is the process of obtaining factually correct and intellectually significant information for your audience. Before you start to compose any email, memo, letter, or report, you need to do research. It's better to find out as much as possible about your topic in advance of writing than to do a poor job. Research can include conducting interviews, doing field work, attending conferences, collaborating with others, conducting surveys, reading books or periodicals, visiting websites, and more. Now, you don't have to necessarily do these steps in this order. I know a lot of students come to me and they say, Miss Lewis, I do better when I just start writing and then do the research last. That's fine. That's completely fine. Work whichever way is best and is proven to be best for you. But as long as you include every step, then you're good. Planning. Planning is the process of getting something, anything, down on paper or on a computer screen. Widely used strategies for planning include clustering, brainstorming, and outlines. So we remember whenever we were writing papers in English 111 or even in high school, the the diagrams, the circles, the brainstorming techniques that we learned. This is essentially what planning is. Clustering is a diagramming thoughts about a topic by writing them down, circling them, and connecting related thoughts. Brainstorming is listing information on a topic in any order as quickly as you can. Outlining is organizing and grouping information into categories by using headings, numbers, and letters. Drafting. Drafting is the process of converting the words and phrases from your clustered groups, brainstormed lists, or outlines into paragraphs. Don't expect to wind up with a polished, complete version of your document after only one draft. Most letters, emails, memos, and reports go through multiple drafts. For a successful draft, write the easiest part first. Write straight through. Don't worry about grammar and mechanics. Allow time between drafts to clear your mind, get outside opinions, and consider whether or not visuals will enhance your document. So, a good way to look at writing is what I call a free write. That's when you have a topic that you know you need to write about and you just sit and write for 10 or 15 minutes without taking your pencil or your pen or your fingers off the keys. Revising. Revising is the process of reseeing, rethinking, and reconsidering your document after you've produced a draft that successfully conveys the appropriate message to your audience. So the first draft is never the final draft. Ever. Not for any of us. Not for me, not for you, not for anyone who writes on a daily basis. Like planning and drafting, revising evolves over a period of time and should not be done in one sitting. So, if you've ever tried to cram for an exam and it's worked for you, then you don't want to have that same attitude when trying to revise an essay. It takes a lot of time, and you need time to take a step back from it to say, all right, I need to go clear my brain, or I need to let someone else read it. That is important, that you take yourself away from it for a while so that when you're looking at it again, you're looking at it with fresh eyes, not tired eyes who've been looking at the same document for 2 or 3 or 4 hours. Revising involves reworking the document for content, accuracy and relevance of information, presentation of evidence, organization, clarity of main points, order of information, appropriateness of time spent on each point, grouping of related items, and tone, how you sound, how you perceive your audience. Tone is very important. We're going to discuss that in a couple more chapters. Editing. Editing is the process of fine-tuning a document after it has been satisfactorily revised for content, organization, and tone. Editing involves checking the document for sentence level construction, word choice, punctuation, spelling, and grammar and usage. When editing, you should work toward lean and clear sentences. Avoid complex sentences, choppy sentences, and passive voice. The removal of unnecessary words and the removal of sexist and other stereotypical language. So like we've been discussing, whenever you write, especially in business, you want to write things that are direct, concise, and straightforward. You don't want to be wordy. You don't have to use SAT words in all of your sentences, but you want to make sure that your reader knows exactly why you're writing, what you need, and how they can help you. Editing guidelines for writing lean and clear sentences. This is very important. Take a look at this PowerPoint and also write this down. Avoid needlessly complex or lengthy sentences. We have the tendency to overwrite. We don't need to do that, especially in business writing. In corporate America, in any business really, whoever receives an email or a memo or a letter, they're so busy that they just kind of want you to get straight to the point. They want you to say what you need to say in as few words as possible and as clearly as possible. Edit sentences to tell who does what to whom or what. Answer all the questions the reader needs to know. Use strong active verbs rather than verb phrases. An example, cooperate instead of work in cooperation with. Avoid piling modifiers in front of nouns. Replace wordy phrases or clauses with one or two word synonyms. Combine sentences beginning with the same subject or ending with an object that becomes the subject of the next sentence. Replace wordy phrases with precise ones. Use agree instead of be in agreement with, slowly instead of at a slow rate. Use concise, not redundant phrases. Use essential instead of absolutely essential, or opinion instead of personal opinion. Watch for repetitious words, phrases, or clauses within a sentence, and avoid unnecessary prepositional phrases, audible to the ear, short in duration. So basically what you want to do is streamline the information that you are sending to the reader. A lot of students have a tendency to write due to the fact of, or because of the fact, or that's wordy. You don't have to do that. I know that you're smart. Obviously you are. So use as few words as possible. Make it as easy to read as possible for your reader. Editing guidelines to eliminating sexist language. Replace sexist words with neutral ones. Use homemaker instead of housewife, chair or chairperson instead of chairman. Watch masculine pronouns. Make the subject of the sentence plural instead of using a masculine pronoun. Replace his with the or a or drop it altogether. Use his or her instead of his. Use the passive voice to avoid using a masculine pronoun. Avoid sexist words that end in ESS or ETTE. Use flight attendant instead of stewardess. Use drummer instead of drum majorette. Eliminate sexist salutations, dear sir, dear madam, gentleman. Never single out a person's physical appearance. The manager was a tall blonde. Most of these things are common sense, but whenever we're writing, whenever we're in the workplace, we often forget about the possibility of offending someone with our language. Avoiding other types of stereotypical language. Do not single out an individual because of race or national origin, or stereotype him or her because of it. Identify members of an international community accurately. Avoid words or phrases that discriminate an individual because of age. Respect individuals who may have a disability. Don't stereotype based on sexual orientation. Of course, the point to all of this for the last 2 or 3 slides is that you do not want to single out someone negatively based on their gender, sexual orientation, disability, race, national origin, anything that may distinguish a person and could possibly be offensive. You want to avoid that type of language. That is chapter 2. If you have any questions, as always, please do not hesitate to contact me. I see you all doing your assignments and your discussion questions, and most of you have done the enrollment verification, and that makes me very happy. My office again is S301G, and my telephone number is 362-7114, and my email address is aglewis180@mail.cfcc.edu. Have a good day.